All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome CMAG Connection session for Friday, September 5th, 2025. Without further ado, let's take it into the agenda. So coming up, we got a safety minute. We've got some great announcements coming up. Sam Marcus is going to do their campus spotlight. Very exciting stuff. We'll have a connection corner, and then we'll talk about our training opportunities coming up in the near future. But without further ado, I will hand it over to Britton to take care of the safety minute. Thanks, Britton.
Hi, everyone. Okay, as we all know, Cal OSHA can show up on your construction site at any time unannounced, but what we have noticed is that there has been an increase in their visits. So we just wanted to flag the campuses to let them know that Cal OSHA is coming out and they're asking specific questions like, do you have the IIPP or the JHAs on hand, or do you know where they are? They ask about the tailgate meetings and whether or not they went over the PTP and what the safety topic might have been. And then they're also asking about heat illness prevention plans and whether or not the worker knows where those plans are. More specifically, in regards to the HIPP, they are interested in how much water these workers are drinking each day. And while Cal OSHA doesn't have a direct requirement of how much water a worker should be drinking, they do say that the employer needs to be providing a certain amount of water. And that usually ends up being in an 8-hour shift, 2 gallons of water
Wow.
per
Okay. That's
employee.
that's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So
Britton,
go ahead.
thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to hand it over to Edward to take care of the next slide. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
And that, hey, there's a binder in the trailer. Most of our projects, we require safety orientation, and all of this is discussed there. So it's just sort of an extension of that. As I mentioned in the chat, I did have a chance to discuss this at the EH&S Affinity Group meeting. So I did share with them. Their big concern was contractors, third-party contractors don't always let campus folks know that OSHA visited, right? So this is the way and one of the reasons why we're doing this outreach, just to be mindful of it. So if you do have contractors, let them know, hey, by chance, if this happens, just give me a heads up, right? I mean, honestly, you're not superheroes. You're not going to go out there and save them. They got to go through the administrative process just from the nature of them being contractors. But it's good to know, and I'll tell you why. What we found, for example, at Humboldt, OSHA wasn't there for Humboldt. OSHA happened to be there for Caltrans working out in that area. But when they go to Humboldt, they just start walking around and they find fences and they start poking behind the fence, and then the questions come from there. So again, my wife loves to say the same, don't be scared, be aware. And in this instance, we're just trying to share the awareness, let everyone know what's happening, what the typical types of questions are, so that you can make certain that your folks are adding this to their tailgate meetings and making certain everyone's ahead of that. Tim, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do out here, guys. When they come on site, by the way, nothing stops them from looking at us, CSU employees. They see people in your M&O group that are off doing basic maintenance. Nothing is going to stop them from coming on over there and going, where's the IIPP for your maintenance people? Did you do a job hazard analysis? Let me see the safety inspection card for the lawnmower or the forklift that you're using here today. Were you trained on it? Do you have a training record that proves you were trained on it? It's only a question of time before they turn on an agency. Now, I happen to think that Caltrans has put their head in the noose and they're going to get nailed first and get made an example of. But it's only a question of time before it starts coming over to CSU. So we need to up our game all around on here. And for God's sakes, if you're running around on the job site, make sure you're wearing proper PPE and you can actually speak to things like you know who the contractor safety director is and you paid attention to the charts at the entrance and you know how the emergency planning works and so forth. And that'll help push it down to somebody else who doesn't know those kinds of things. So heads up for everybody. This is going to get interesting in the next 6 months. Caltrans had an internal audit that pretty much, not internal, it was an external audit came through and pretty much was very critical of them, said, yeah, you got focused on COVID, on just disease, and you ignored your day job. And by God, you haven't come back to it. And you need to start proving that you're effective. Because of course, if they're not effective, then the feds can always take Cal OSHA away, and we come under OSHA. And if you haven't noticed, the relationship between the state of California and the federal government is a little bit strained these days. So
But
heads
then
up, we don't
having
want to get
federal OSHA oversight might be good, right? Because there's no problems because we're employers.
I
Employers
think they're a lot
strict.
better. Well, but then they start looking at the employer safety programs. And I will tell you, without diving into it very deep, we're pretty skimpy. So stay tuned.
Cool. Well, thank you, Britton, Edward, and Tim for that. Just one more thing on that heat-related incident. Not only can they happen on your job sites or in your offices, but they can also happen at home or on soccer fields as we're watching our kids play sports or out at the beach. Just make sure you get that sunscreen on, stay hydrated. Even when it looks like it's an overcast day, that can be one of the toughest days that you can get dehydrated. Actually, yeah, watch out for your pets as well. Correct, Edward. Thanks so much for that. So to go over
Jeremy, if I can just add one other thing too, we noticed
absolutely.
that CO, we are having a rash of flu and COVID that start appearing, and it's all in about the last 2 to 3 weeks. So this is a good time to go out and get your vaccine. Start them earlier than normal this year, and wash your hands. The single most important thing you can do. So
Absolutely.
heads up on that.
Cool. Thanks for that, Tim. Carly, do you want to go over our construction services team and kind of who we are? I know we did it a couple of months ago, but might as well just introduce ourselves again, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just as a reminder, the construction team here at CBDC, Tim is our chief, who we just heard from. And we have Kevin Lout, who I assume most of you have met before. He's the director of construction services. Britton, who we just heard from, is our principal construction program manager. Andrea is here on the call. She's one of our construction managers. And Jeremy, who I assume everybody knows at this point, the construction manager. Edward is our program manager. You most likely see him in regards to insurance, OSIP, things like that. Terry Carr, if you're here on the call, she's also a program administrator, handling things like our BRIP insurance and our enrollments and the pre-qualification for contractors. And last but not least, Carly Good, here also to assist program administrator.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Carly. I appreciate you reintroducing us. So big exciting news at the Chancellor's office. Myself and Kevin are on the air handling unit renewal project at the Chancellor's office. So it's a collaborative design build project where we're going to be replacing the existing supply and return fans with great big fan walls, state-of-the-art fan walls, controls, cutting edge technology. But the Chancellor's office is going to be physically closed from December 4th through January 9th. So the Chancellor's office will still be working, but we're going to be working from home from December 4th through January 9th. So if you're a campus and you thought, hey, I'm going to drop off that gift box or that box of chocolates for the holidays for the old team at CPDC, do it before December 4th, please, because we're not. Well, I'll be there, right? So I'll have all the chocolates and stuff to myself, but the rest of the Chancellor's office will not be there. So please keep that in mind. I will bring updates to you. It's a collaborative design build project. We are now in phase 2. I'll bring updates like pictures and videos and all sorts of great stuff, and be able to start engaging campuses on their questions about collaborative design build, their experiences, lessons learned. So I want to pull that into the CMAG meeting as well, talking more about collaborative design build. So you got any questions about it? Give me a call.
Who are you using? Who's the team?
Is the construction or the so it's Athena Engineering. They were the low bid, and their Hobach is the structural, and Taylor is the mechanical. So it's a pretty good design. It's a little nerve-wracking for me because if anybody's been at the Chancellor's office before, it's actually directly above the Chancellor's office. not kidding you. Like it's literally directly above her office. So it's a little bit nerve wracking, but I think I've got all my T's crossed, my I's dotted. So hopefully we come in hard and get this done quickly. So CMPM Master Enabling Agreements. Andrew, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so I know a lot of you folks on campuses have contracted services for construction management and project management services, but we will be putting out master enabling agreements that will be able to be used across the system. So right now I'm working on designing how those will work. I've been meeting this week with some campuses to get their feedback on input, how to make it more user friendly. And those will hopefully be going up for advertisement next week once I get final input. I have one more meeting scheduled for next week. So if you guys have any input that you think you want me to hear before those get advertised, please let me know. And this will not affect any of your current agreements that you have outstanding. So if you already contract directly with different services, this won't impact it. But this is going to be for campuses who may struggle with getting projects through their procurement teams. We're just looking to lower the barrier to entry for people to acquire these services. Our goal is to get as much coverage across all the campuses as possible. So we'll be awarding multiple awards. We're thinking a pretty big number will be awarded. And then also just wanted to let you know, in case you haven't heard, the design team within CPDC is also advertising for IOR and special inspections MEAs that you guys will be able to use. And so those are currently open for advertisements. Bids are due on 9/17. So if you have any firms that you want to make sure get that advertisement, I'll drop the link in the chat and you guys can send those out to any firms who you think haven't seen that advertisement yet.
So Andrea, that just to be clear, the IOR and special inspection MEA was actually not put out by us, but it was put out by Tanya's group, right? The
design team within CPDC.
Yep. And we got a couple of questions in the chat already. Victor, I think, it
is going to be multi-year right now. Yeah. It's scheduled for a 4-year period with a 3-year renewal, so a maximum of 7 years. So we're still working with the campuses to see if that's a good amount, if that's too long, too short. So that's what we're planning right now. So if you have any feedback or input or would like to chat more about how it's structured, reach out to me directly and then we can review it with you guys.
Thanks for that, Andrea. All right. Without further ado, I am going to hand it over to CSU San Marcos. Rajesh, you want to just tell me when next slide, or do you want to present? How do you want to do it?
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. I can take the slide deck and present. So I'll go and share my screen here.
Do my stop share.
Okay. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Rajesh Badri with CSUSM, and I'm excited to present to CMAG on our University Village Housing and Dining project. Our campus partners for this project include McCarthy Construction and Gensler Architects. In this presentation, we'll be covering project background, some challenges that we faced, and how we overcame this. All right, so this is a photo of the early demo phase of the project. You can see all the growth going on in and around San Marcos here. CSUSM responded to the state's call letter in August 2021, and in December 22, we actually received the Finance and Treasury approval memo. We gained BOT approval May 2023, and then financial BOT was the same year in November 2023. A fun fact is that this is the first housing building on campus since 2003. So it's our second housing project on campus. And it's also the newest ground up building on state-owned land since 2016. From a high level, 2 buildings make up the project. The housing building or the residence hall at 127,000 square feet and the dining facility at 10,000 square feet. The total project budget is $126 million. About $95 million is our design builder's original budget. The program includes 285 new rooms, a total of 555 beds, of which 390 are going to be affordable to the area. Some rooms also have additional capacity, which is huge for our growth. We're a growing campus. We have growing enrollment, and we're transitioning from a commuter to a live-on campus now. Some amenities for the project include continuity to the existing village apartments. You can see the village apartments here in the background, and then our site here in the forefront. And then, And then, continuity of the village apartments. It's full spa facilities, student lounges. We have single stall showers, restrooms. So GIR restrooms, an outdoor amphitheater, living learning spaces, operable windows, and Wi-Fi card readers for the dorm rooms. The facility already has a new name, so Black Oak Hall for the residence hall, Quila Dining for the food hall. And a fun fact is that Quila actually means acorn in Luiseño, honoring the indigenous community and reflects upon CSUSM's natural surroundings. So I'll try to share a drone video of the project and its current status. So yeah, the project's approximately 75% complete. You can see that we just removed the personnel hoist. So we're getting ready to patch that zipper there. With the site make ready permit, we completed utilities, demo, rough grading, material import. Still got a little bit of dirt import to do, and we completed the substructure for the tower crane. Another fun fact is that the asphalt from parking lot O was recycled to build a construction parking lot below the sports center. So that mitigated impacts to student parking. The superstructure and the roof is also substantially complete, as you can see. So our focus is now shifted to exterior systems and the interior build out. So all procurement of major equipment, all of our electrical gear, mechanical equipment is on site, actually installed already. Elevators are signed off for temp use. That's why we took down the personnel hoist. And the building's fully stocked with drywall. So we're on track to tie in permanent power next month. So we're in the process of setting up a pre-con meeting with the contractor and the campus to review that method of procedure. We're currently averaging about 1,000 trade hours per day. We've had 0 OSHA reportable incidents on the project. And we're at about 250,000 field hours, total field hours. So our project was permitted through Office of Fire Safety, and inspections are being done through the State Fire Marshal. We have an IOR specific to this project, which is huge for us. And they've been doing a great job coordinating with State Fire Marshal and then actually doing some inspections, on their behalf. Things have been going really well. We're working through, RFIs, engineering judgments, deferred resubmittals, and CCDs with State Fire Marshal. Last month, we had a good pre-con meeting with them, and we're actually discussing occupancy. We developed a good checklist. A couple remaining pre-con meetings that we want to have with them to just plan for occupancy on May 19th, 2026. And this is a photo of a typical resident room in construction. So some challenges that we faced. So the facility is a cast-in-place structure. Certain shear walls were scheduled to be 5,000 PSI. Others 6,000 PSI. McCarthy elected to make all the shear walls 6,000 PSI for consistency of the mix design. And they actually had a 7,000 mix approved. Around mid-September 2024, the project realized the shear wall breaks were coming up slow, so not meeting that 28-day time frame. And the concrete supplier was put on notice. Revised mix designs were developed, and even with stronger mixes, the breaks were still coming up just short. So the supplier then reviewed all the other components of the mix, water cement ratio, aggregate, and they found the local plant actually swapped out the aggregate. So they had to resource that aggregate that was used from the original test reports. So once that aggregate was changed out, that pretty much mitigated those concerns. But when this issue, arose, the campus notified CPDC, our SRB. We had alignment meetings to plan our path forward. And concurrently, McCarthy had shifted to other areas of the superstructure, mitigating about 5 weeks of delays if we were to stop and wait. So the design team reviewed the results. They noted core tests were the method to test the as-built strengths of the couple shear walls that we had in question. So we proceeded with coring those walls. We discussed the results on October 11th, 2024, and those results determined that the concrete strength exceeded our design calcs. And for closure, the architect and engineer record, they provided a signed ASI. The campus provided a $0 change order to close that record. So in these photos, you can see the sample test cores being taken. All right, on April 9th, 2025, the campus received a report that 2 PT cables were detensioned. This was at decks 3 and 5. And we notified our deputy building official. Again, we contacted, CPDC, SRB, our third-party reviewer, who is Will Dan. We discussed the structural implications with Kaufman, our SEOR. They didn't have any initial concerns. These were banded cables that were de-stressed or detention. And Kaufman noted, other factors contribute to the strength of the overall elevated slabs. And everything was calculated out still very well, but McCarthy actually elected to replace the PT tendon. So they successfully replaced both cables. They found the root cause being rebar dowels at restroom curbs. So those dowels were removed so that the obstruction was removed and we can, fish back the tendons. So the pour-back strip was x-rayed. Damaged cables were surgically removed from both ends there. And new slightly smaller cables were pulled through and retensioned. So in the middle photo, you can show, it shows an opening of the pour strip to access the live end of the PT. The right photo shows removal of the restroom curb dowel into the PT sleeve. And the left photo shows a new cable being fished and pulled through. End result is that the PTs in question were replaced in kind. And this is a recent photo, not a current photo of the project, but it does show 2 of our architectural shear wall elements. A fun fact is that our exterior shear walls have both positive and negative side waterproofing. We're in the process now of finalizing our furniture orders. We have 3 different furniture packages on the project. We have the resident room furnishings, so that'll be folio. And for our student life furniture, we have a hyphen or steel case that'll be providing that package. And then we're looking at hyphen and steel case for outdoor furniture as well, depending on budget. So we feel like we're in a good spot. Like I said earlier, we're looking for substantial completion May 19th, 2026. And we're on schedule to open fall 2026. So yeah, this completes our presentation. This is our latest and greatest rendering of the project in the main plaza. But yeah, thank you for allowing Cal State San Marcos to present to CMAG.
Rajesh, thanks so much for the campus spotlight presentation. I've been asking for them for months, and you did it. You were the first one, and I really appreciate that. It looks great. Those challenges, that was something else with the pretension, and I'm sure you're probably going to get some questions from campuses about that, about how that was done. I mean, surgically to get in there and correct that's pretty cool. Is there anything else you want to elaborate on that correction?
Yeah, I was actually more nervous about the fix.
Yeah.
But CMC, our rebar contractor or rebar subcontractor, they've done this before. They felt pretty good about it. They had a good pre-con meeting with McCarthy, and yeah, they just executed on it. I mean, it was on a Saturday. I think it took about 11 hours to get that done, but they got it done, and it made the campus feel a lot better about it.
Yeah.
We don't want to really take over a new building that, we've already had busted cables in. So it made us feel good about the product that we were getting.
So did you said it was Saturday work. Did it affect your schedule, or was it?
No, we didn't have anything else going on that Saturday. Yeah, so we were good to go. We just notified, the UVA about the operation as well, that we're going to have, trade workers on site that day. And we did it early in the morning too. So
nice.
We started it early.
Nice. Well, great work on that. Are there any questions for Rajesh and San Marcos? Andrea, you unmuted.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I had asked Rajesh to talk about some of the challenges they face, because I just wanted everyone else to see that there are other campuses that face challenges and they work through them and can get through them successfully. So just want to take some of that stress off of you when you feel like you're the only one who's facing problems or is the only one who runs into different speed bumps. Just want to make you guys aware that everyone faces challenges. It's just about how we get through them. It's really how we're measured.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
Andrew, that's a great point. Francisco, you got your hand up?
Yeah, hi. I had a question. Thanks for the presentation. I was just wondering what your experience was with State Fire Marshal after your project was approved by OFS. How as the project progressed, if that set of plans was how do I say used as is, or were there kind of corrections along the way based on their interpretation of, I guess, that permitted set?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Things definitely started out a little bit rocky with our state fire marshal. We do have a good relationship with them. We did have an alignment meeting with OFS, Brock. Thank you, Brock, for everything. And we had our state fire marshal in that meeting as well. Kind of going over roles and responsibility, handoff from, design and permitting over to inspections with the state fire marshal. I think there was a little bit of a learning curve, for the first few months as we got into interior framing and, penetrations, things like that. But things definitely improved with the fire marshal. Like I said in the presentation, they actually handed over some inspections over to our IOR. So our IOR, having a dedicated IOR to the project, was, I think, instrumental in the success. And then doing those, pre-construction meetings with State Fire Marshal, going over, interior framing, UL listed penetrations, mechanical systems, dampers, just giving, the fire marshal a good look ahead of what we have going on, just full transparency with them.
Awesome. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Francisco.
Thank you so much. And to piggyback on what Andrea was saying,
my name is Aaron Adams, local over here. Just trying to get some information.
Some information about what?
Was that like a bleed over? Yeah, I don't think that was for us. I think that was
Okay, thank goodness. But it's just that we're not. This is an all internal meeting, and that's actually what I was going to get at. Is that like we were talking about the lessons learned. I'm sure I'm going to have lessons learned on the AHU project, and I'll bring them to you. This is a safe space. Nobody's judged. Like it's like what was the lesson learned? How did you get around it? And hopefully, like as a collective, as a CMAG, because that's really the mission of CMAG, the Construction Management Affinity Group, is to work together and to talk about what works and what we may have done, we may have wanted to do differently. So it is a safe space to definitely talk and air grievances or what have you. So welcome to the Connection Corner. Unfortunately, Kevin's not here for his, because I wanted to call it Kevin's Connection Corner. It's pretty good, right? But he's not here today. But yeah, let's get into it. I mean, is there any other projects you guys want to talk about, your lessons learned? Are there any questions, comments, concerns, or challenges that you're having with your consultants, your contractors, your campus? I mean, that could be a problem as well. Is there anything anybody would like to bring up or ask questions about?
Hey, Jeremy, I'm trying to raise my hand, but I can't.
Oh, it's all right, Laura. Just unmute. Yep.
Levi's could talk. It's not a lesson learned necessarily, but I just wanted to say that our chief building inspector just announced his retirement. So if anybody has maybe an inspector that's not all that busy, that wants to talk to me about sharing services or anything like that, I know that comes up sometimes on these calls. I just wanted to put it out there. Yes, Ted is retired.
Well, everybody has to retire someday. But well, I guess that MEA for the IORs is coming out at the right time for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Well, if anybody has something in mind later, maybe you guys can reach out to Laura and maybe send her some contact information of somebody that she could use for her campus there at Fullerton. Anyone else? Any other questions, comments, concerns, contractors, consultants, campuses? Kevin's Connection Corner. That's a C's. All right. Let's keep moving then.
I have a question, Jeremy.
Oh, yes. Awesome.
Marina at Bakersfield. So, we're in the procurement side and we work with our construction and facilities team, but, we are really struggling. I understand there's some high priority projects that need to occur on our campus, but having realistic expectations of how long it takes to process RFPs, because there's a few that they're saying, well, we want to try to get the notice of intent to award out by December of this year, when at this point, we don't even have any of the documents that procurement would need to even start working on an RFP. So I'm just kind of looking for some guidance on timelines in terms of different major CAP projects that we have. And my understanding is that the solar PPA projects that some campuses have done have taken as long as 2 years from start to finish. So, telling us that we have to try to get this priority project RFP out and possibly have, a notice of intent to award by December. I just don't think that is possible.
Is there any campus out there that's been working on like an energy or solar project that might be able to have some good advice for Marina on this one? I think Sonoma had one, but are there any other campuses that have kind of experienced that timeline crunch?
At San Bernardino, our solar project has taken 6 years to get through the procurement process.
Wow.
So, and I don't know if that's conveyed to them when they're talking to CPDC. To be quite honest, like the templates and forms and like information for that process hasn't been very, in my opinion, fleshed out completely for us to know all the steps that are involved with that particular process. I understand it's different than a traditional public works project. There's negotiation that can occur. There's a lot of variances and just it's a very complex project. So we have met with some folks from CPDC. We have met with one of the campuses, I believe it was San Marcos, to get their, background on how they did their project. But it just seems like a lot of campuses are struggling with this type of project, how to complete it, realistic timelines and expectations of when it can be done. Because it's unfortunately tied to a large new construction project that we're also attempting to do. And I was told that they cannot issue the building permit if that project hasn't been started, at least the solar project that we're combining under this project.
So I'll tell you what, this has been an issue for the last couple of years when that solar requirement became a code requirement. And so a lot of campuses have solar projects that are coming. And so what they've done when they've come to CPDC is saying, we know the solar project isn't yet completed, but we've attributed this project, and they might list other projects that are attributed to that solar project when they come and present to us at CPDC.
In addition to what Andrea just said, that's how we do it at San Diego State. We maintain a matrix of here's the solar projects we're doing, and here's where they're getting attributed to projects for code purposes. I will say, I think it's a mistake to treat a solar project as an energy project. I actually think you're way far ahead of the game to treat it as a construction activity, which means know where you're going to put it, know exactly how you're going to put it there, do your feasibility studies. So we've had really good luck with solar arrays where we go in advance. We decide we're going to put it on parking structure 12. We hire a structural engineer to design the connections so they know exactly how they're going to mount that big structural steel array on top of our parking structure. So when you start getting bids from solar vendors, they can get fixed prices for the array infrastructure they're putting in. Because there's this, I suspect a lot of us have done it backwards, where we say we want Y kWh of capacity, and here's some places you can put it. How does a contractor know how to price that? How does a solar array contractor know how to price that? The truth is they can't really. You're just deferring it all out into the far future after you've sorted out locations and figured out infrastructure. So we've had really good success with just do that work up front. Figure out where it's going to go, figure out whether you need a CEQA action, figure out what the structural constraints are, and then you can actually get meaningful prices for the work you're asking for. And then, like Andrea said, you just give the colleagues at CPDC, here's my spreadsheet showing which project array is going where and what it's being attributed to.
Great, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob. So anybody else? Of course, if you've got questions that come up later, you don't have to wait a whole month till we meet again. Don't forget that's the first Friday of every month at 11 a.m. But you can also email CPDC or, Marina, maybe you could throw an email over to Bob or vice versa, where you guys can start collaborating and sharing lessons learned and good ideas that you've had on projects. So upcoming training opportunities. Next Friday, Jock Huddle number 33. Did 33 of these, you guys. We're going to do fall updates. There's some Gordian changes. There's some new contractors coming in. But please register for advance. For this meeting, I'll throw... Carly, actually, can you throw the registration link in the chat for us, please? Thank you very much. But it'll be a lively conversation about the Jock and Gordian fall updates. So that'll be more Jock centric next Friday. And membership opportunities. Carly, I think this one's you, right? Do you know about this one?
Yeah, and sorry, that DBIA website also copied and pasted with the Jock Huddle. So that's two different links I sent just now. But we talked about this last month. If you didn't hear it, we have a system-wide membership now for DBIA. And I have instructions here on how to join, but we'll send out the slide deck. Also, if you have any issues with it, just shoot me an email at cgood. That's it.
Perfect. Well, thank you to everybody for attending. And we will see you in a month again. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.